The Marlins call a team meeting, 90-minute meeting, and they respond with a 12-2 victory over the Washington Nationals in Game 1. Edward Cabrera made the start. Jazz Chisholm with 2 bombs, 4 home runs in total for the Marlins. We're going to dig into all of the news and action from yesterday's game, including that 90-minute players meeting on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Marlins, your daily Marlins podcast with me, Peter Pratt. Welcome to the Wednesday edition, guys, and it's a solo pod. Yep, it's the first time I think I've gone solo since the YouTube channel is going, so you get to see the whole action here with just me talking to myself, so stay tuned for that one. But guys, I almost had to do an emergency pod last night. It was absolutely kicking off. Pre-game, I was sitting back, I was watching some old Fish Stripes pods, really enjoying that, catching up with the guys. Next thing is news breaking. The Marlins have had a 90-minute players meeting. Don Mattingly's out there. I saw a great clip, Christina Di Nicola sharing that. And I've never seen Don Mattingly like that, ever. That's the first time I've seen Donnie like it. And there was a lot of sound bites from that conversation, a lot of reading between the lines, just a lot going on. So we're going to dig into that first, kind of get into what Donnie was saying. There's been some reports today from Craig Mish, and I think Andy Slater's also put some news out there as well. So rumors are circulating. I think there's more to come on this topic, but we're going to dig into that on today's Locked On Marlins. And also talk about the game too. We shouldn't forget there was a game played yesterday, and the Marlins won a game. Donnie thought they were going to come out flat. We'll dig into that shortly. But the Marlins absolutely didn't come out flat. They came out and absolutely pummeled the Nats 12-2. So massive win for them. Love to see that. But guys, reminder, this episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. So make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. So if you're thinking about that question, use promo code Locked On at checkout. More about those guys later on, as well as a few other ads queued up. So, but let's go back to yesterday pregame. The news breaks. I think it was Jordan McPherson putting out there, no BP, no batting practice happening. There was just straight up, a couple of players came out, started kind of wandering around when Don Mattingly faced the media. And they kind of got into it pretty quick. The usual guys were there, Craig Minervini, Christina Di Nicola, Jordan McPherson. Also, Craig Mish just obviously saw what was happening, got a sense of what was happening. He got in his car and got down the ballpark on a Tuesday night for a Marlins Nationals game. And, listen, from what we can hear, Don Mattingly was the one that called the meeting. And I don't know if he chaired the meeting or not. I don't know if it was that kind of thing. But Don, I think, the key takeaway I took anyway was that there was some, I guess, rumors, some talking behind other people's backs. There was some problems brewing in the clubhouse. And that's at the heart of it, guys. There's a problem in the clubhouse. Let's start there. The Marlins have a clubhouse problem. And yesterday when I was thinking back, I was thinking back to Dan Greenlee on Swings and Misses again. I think it's such a poignant episode. Dan clearly didn't share tons of really deep insight. But what kind of hit me was, well, the offense has actually been good. The pitching's been good. The defense has been elite. Yet the Marlins, their season is spiraling out of control. What is the problem? What can we put our finger on here? And maybe this is the answer we've been looking for. The clubhouse is broken. Maybe. And listen, I know people kind of talking about Don and the comments he made, but really, Donnie, maybe this was the right move. He's hearing all these tidbits coming into him or knocking around and, players complaining, etc. Donnie's called a meeting and said, hey, guys, sit down. Let's talk it out. Let's air it out. Let's get it all out in the open. If you have problems, let's air them, firstly, so everyone's on the same page. I think that's a good way to approach things. and then let's see if we can work it out. So I'm with Don on that. Listen, if he knew there was problems, let's air them out. And we don't know the specifics on the problems. We don't know the specific players, perhaps where things, where maybe fingers are being pointed. I don't know. But the other bit of Donny's presser that was interesting, a couple of bits actually, was the fact that he said that he wasn't sure if there was any resolution. So clearly, problems were aired. Not sure if they were resolved. Maybe they never will be. I don't know. But he also then expected the team to come out flat for the game. I think that was a really interesting comment. I think what he meant by that, and this is my interpretation, not what's reported or what Donny said, but my interpretation on that is, a few guys, there's been some heated words shared in the clubhouse. And with that being said, the atmosphere maybe wasn't buzzing, let's say. Maybe there was a couple of unhappy people, there was some unhappy words, whatever it may be, and you think, okay, are the guys going to be in the right mindset to perform at the top of their game today against the Washington Nationals team that, listen, let's kind of cut to it. They should be beating these guys. They did, and they fully beat them for sure. We'll cover all of that in the second half of this episode, but I think that's where Donny was going. Not that he expected them to come out flat and it's that kind of session, but just as a byproduct of the conversation they've had, that it's going to be a struggle mentally to come out and perform. The other interesting wrinkle then, as soon as players started to arrive on the field, I saw a tweet from Jazz almost immediately. No one else is tweeting at all, but surprise, surprise, Jazz, he's clearly really highly engaged on social media, but he was out there tweeting about AirPods Ninja, putting it out there, and I'm not quite clear what to take away from that, other than the fact that maybe Jazz just kind of took a back seat and was like, hey, I'm not getting involved in this. That's what I took away from it, is Jazz is kind of going, I don't want to be involved. I'll let you guys take it up. I've seen similar things today in some of the articles put around. I think Cooper's saying the same thing. I think Sandy said similar things. So I'm not quite clear where this is pointed at. But there was something else I did see around Miggy Rowe saying that there's some clubhouse rules. There's the Marlins rules. There's the way, if you want to be a Marlin and you want to be a big leaguer, there's some rules to follow. I'm not clear which ones we're alluding to here, but some of them I don't believe are being adhered to. Andy Slater talking about some fashion choices, perhaps, which I think is pretty wild. I mean, if there is a required, I'm thinking back to Coach Carter. That's what I've got in my head, of Coach Carter saying, hey, you must wear a tie, you must wear a jacket. And if that's what's being stipulated, then fair play. If everyone knows that and people are diverting away and breaking the rules, fair enough, pull them up on it. But if fundamentally there are no rules around, what you can and can't wear to a ball game, then I feel like that's a little bit kind of left of center for sure. I'm not really clear if that's something we want to go down to, but some people are kind of making some connections, going, well, Jazz has put out AirPods Ninja, sorry. He's put that out there. Next thing is they're talking about fashion sense. Well, we know Jazz, he's very exuberant. Is this pointed at Jazz? Is Jazz the problem in the locker room? I'd be shocked if that was the situation. Listen, Jazz, to me, he is an extremely confident guy, no doubt about it. And maybe that could rub someone up the wrong way. But I look at Jazz and I just see an absolute superstar and someone that just seems to just heap praise on guys. When I hear him talk about others, Jazz is always the first and most gushing in his compliments of his teammates. That's what I hear. I heard Daniel Alvarez yesterday in the locker room post-game asking Jazz a question about Eddie Cabrera. And, straight away, Jazz straight in there. No, Eddie's a straight up stud. That wasn't exactly what he said, but, fundamentally, that's where he was going with it. So I'd be shocked if Jazz was a problem here. I think we're kind of making some connections here of, oh, well, it's the dress sense, etc. But I'm not convinced on that one. But there's a few more items to get into, guys. But before we do that, reminder that this episode it's brought to you by BlueNile.com. Already mentioned them at the top of the show. And at BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at the prices you won't find, at a traditional jeweler. So there are two parts of this business: wedding jewelry and everyday fine jewelry. So whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with modern convenience. We love convenience. Convenience sells of online shopping at BlueNile.com. So they have a Blue Nile. They've got a simple online tool that lets you choose the diamond shape, size, clarity, as well as setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is one of a kind, bespoke jewelry here from BlueNile.com. So make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. If it's engagement rings you're after, I'm confident they'll be above $500, no doubt. So this podcast exclusive includes engagement rings. Use promo code Locked On. That is Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships for free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free. That's what you need for engagement, no doubt. And find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Okay, so final other bits. Let's get into this. The other threads that kind of popped up anyway, and aside from the fashion choices, which I'm not convinced are the main ones, but Andy Slater put out that it was around. Let's bring it up here. Around work ethic, I believe, and effort on and off the field, and so they go hand in hand in many ways, in my opinion, anyway. Work ethic on and off the field. So I'm not sure where they're pointing that. When I watch the games, the one thing I would say that I've spotted in the past couple of weeks has been I said it on Sunday. There's sometimes a real lack of juice just in the game itself. The Giants game on Sunday, it felt flat. Maybe I'm not sure that's a work ethic thing. To be honest with you, I think the guys are out there trying hard. But some of these games, it does feel flat. I've heard other people on Twitter talking about it. The Marlins are sleepwalking through this game, and you can't point those fingers at the starting pitching, in my opinion. I mean, listen, Sandy, Pablo, Eddie, we'll talk about that shortly now. But these guys, they're out there absolutely grinding away, trying to win games for sure. And so I think it's a really intriguing wrinkle that Andy Slater's reporting that the topics that were included were work ethic, effort on and off the field. So, what's happening? What kind of effort? Who are we pointing this to? It's unclear right now. But if I think back to 2020, this is what dawned on me. In 2020, the Marlins clubhouse was bulletproof. That might be the wrong choice of language here right now for the kind of current times. But listen, they were so unified. It was a fully unified clubhouse. And COVID brought them together, that clubhouse. Like, it was that COVID outbreak. The Marlins as a group came together. They faced adversity, and it made them stronger. Mike Hill did his thing. He brought in the replacement guys. We were playing with anyone and everyone. And the clubhouse was just such a unit, led by Miguel Rojas, led by Sandy Alcantara, too. I think Sandy was affected by COVID, if I recall, as well. But Sandy's been a leader there for some time, and Craig talked about it yesterday on Twitter. Thank God for Sandy Alcantara yesterday coming out and speaking to Craig. Not many players were speaking yesterday. Sandy, he's the leader of the club now too. And listen, there's a few of them. Sandy, Aggie, Migiro, Pablito. They're all leaders for sure, no doubt about it. So it's good to hear from. And I think Cooper Loops, kind of sneakily is a leader too. He's maybe more of a quiet type, but let's go back to that 2020 season. The clubhouse was just so unified. And with that, they were able to build momentum. I remember Miggy Rowe tweeting like a fan. Miggy was watching the games because he was down with COVID, not feeling well himself. Watching the games from a hotel room, live tweeting, let's get a rally going. And the Marlins would get a rally. The clubhouse environment is so critical in sports. It is. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't apply it on the field and you can't generate the right environment, then you're stuffed. And going back to Dan Greenlee's point, that's the problem. This team on paper, statistically, they should be good, but they're not. Why are they not good? They can't get the big hits in the big spots, and they can't get the big outs in the big spots late in the game. Fundamentally, that's the problem for the Marlins this year. Is it a front office problem? Have they assembled the wrong roster? I don't know. The stats are saying no, and that's what Dan's saying. Well, let the numbers play out. Let's work it out. I don't know, but the one key difference here, guys, from what I can see, Clubhouse is broken. Clubhouse is broken. Big style. Can they piece it together? I don't know. If it's about work ethic and about not following the rules, whatever those rules may be, and I'd love to hear what people think about that, which rules we think we're talking about. But if guys are slacking, if they're not putting the effort in, and other guys are seeing that and calling it out, then this clubhouse is fully broken. And this roster is broken because you can't have passengers. You cannot have passengers in the major leagues. You can't. It's too hard a game. Guys, and maybe it's just the adversity. And maybe some guys just haven't reacted well to adversity. It's possible. But it was worrying. I've never seen Don Mattingly ever like that before in an interview. And I've been on many, many Don Mattingly interviews, albeit they're virtual. So maybe this one's different because it's in person. But I've never seen Don Mattingly chewing gum as quickly, as aggressively as he was. To me, that's an indicator that it wasn't a comfortable session. He's out there having to face the media, knowing there's some uncomfortable questions. And listen, Donnie can handle it. He can handle the questions, no doubt. Don's been around baseball for years. He's a slick operator, no doubt. But, it's been some time since they've had to have this session. And my read of it was uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. So Don's out there chewing gum like I've never seen. And at times was lost for words. He seemed to kind of really struggle to get across the key points. What was going on, and clearly he doesn't want to give too much away, right? I think that's the other thing. He's not trying to, throw anyone under the bus, like as you'd expect. But yeah, he looked uncomfortable, no doubt. And I'm glad that Christina Di Nicola was filming. The Bally Sports guys were there, obviously filming too. Craig Mish was in the house, adding some follow-up questions. So we've got more detail. I'm expecting a big swings and misses to drop this week. I'd be shocked if it didn't. I'm sure Craig will be all over this situation and be looking to add a bit more clarity. I know Barry Jackson's been putting some stuff out at the Herald as well today with Craig. So there's more information to come. But guys, the Marlins played a game. They played a game after this, and they somehow absolutely spanked the Washington Nationals. So we're going to dive into that real shortly. But before we do that, reminder that this episode is also brought to you by our good friends over at Athletic Greens. So I've mentioned them a few times, guys, and Athletic Greens, they sent me tons. They sent me tons of their AG1. AG1, and it is, well, what is it? It's a powder. You basically mix it with water. That's all you have to do. Water, powder. 1 scoop powder, water. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. It's got everything in there, right? Special blend of ingredients supports gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, all of the things. So, why do you take them? I was going for the energy vibe. Me, guys. It's hard when you're up watching Marlins baseball, 10 games under in June after midnight. That's tough. We need an energy boost, and I've been taking these every day for the past probably 6 weeks now. I'm actually almost at the end of my powder, so I need to look to get another one from these guys. But listen, it's so easy to do. It's so beneficial. Get over there right now. It's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills, supplements. Look out for your health. Look out for yourselves. That might mean following a different team from the Marlins. I don't know. But so to make it easy, Athletic Greens, they're going to give you a free 1 year. It's a 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And guys, this episode is also brought to you by our partners, of course, at BetOnline. BetOnline.net, it's your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. If I was a betting man now, I've no idea how I would bet on Don Mattingly to be the Marlins manager next year. I think that would be a very intriguing market. But nevertheless, find all the latest sports developments, news, and odds, including this year's basketball championship matchup, the NHL, hockey conference finals, Major League Baseball, and of course, the latest fighting news from MMA and UFC to boxing. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And guys, this episode is going to end talking about yesterday. The Marlins won 12-2. Listen, the matchup, the pitching matchup was intriguing. Edward Cabrera looking to, well, it was his second start of the year after coming off a truly sensational start in Coors where it was just Ks galore. The Washington lineup has been heating up, no doubt, when you actually looked kind of pre-game, looked at the lineup, the averages, the OPSs, everything was kind of trending in the right way. The Nats lineup looking a bit dangerous now. Nelly Cruz heating up. Josh Bell being on fire. Soto. Luis Garcia has also been recently recalled. So, those boys they've been swinging the sticks, no doubt. Won 2 out of 3 series. But Eddie Cabrera came in, and it was a different type of Eddie Cabrera when I watched him. It wasn't the K's galore. It was ground balls galore early on anyway. It was just grounder after grounder early doors. So it wasn't the K's, but he manages to go another 6 innings, just 1 earned run, 2 hits, I believe. So stunning performance again from Cabrera. This is it. Imagine this now, guys. Just, picture this. Sandy doing his thing. Sandy is what he is now. We've got no more concerns about him. Pablo, exactly the same. If the health's there, you've got an ace. Edward Cabrera, if he can continue down this path, and listen, he's only faced the Rockies and the Nats. Let's kind of call that out. But in Coors, and a relatively hot for them Nationals. So, okay, it's not juggernaut offenses, but Eddie Cabrera is doing what he needs to do. And he's doing it better than 21. He's taking a big jump, in my opinion. I mean, this 95-mile-an-hour changeup is insane, no doubt, but loving what I'm seeing from Eddie. For me, that's it now. There is no AAA ever again for Eddie Cabrera, unless it's a rehab start. He's locked in. You've then got Trevor Rogers. We're going to see him on Thursday. Not today's game, but tomorrow's. Big start for Trevor. Trevor really needs to kind of right the ship here. Just put some games together, some momentum together, where multiple starts back-to-back. I want to see the length, firstly. I want to see length from Trevor. Too many starts. It's been so tough in the first, inning or two. He's really struggled to get into games. I want to see Trevor, first inning, aggression. Whether that's Ks, whether it's grounders, whatever it is, I want to see him absolutely attacking the strike zone and just getting the momentum rolling, getting a good start like that under his belt, and then build on it. I want to see 3 games in a row in the kind of Sandy vibe and just see if we can get Trevor Rogers back, fully back, because he hasn't looked like the 2021 Trevor at all. If we can, there we go. Then you're into your 5th starter, Braxton Garrett. And I've commented a few times on this. Braxton as a 5th starter, I think is completely fine. 5 innings at your 5th starter, and he's got the strikeout potential because, the curve, the slider are there. So he can strike guys out. He's definitely serviceable. And Eliezer, we don't have to spend any more time on that. He'd run his course, but they made the right call, in my opinion. People saying, move Eliezer to the pen. No. You need Eliezer to go back to AAA and stay at a level where he can come in and start a game, multiple games perhaps, for the Marlins. I think he will. Eliezer still has a role to play for the Marlins at the big league level in 22. Someone will be hurt. Someone will need to miss a few starts. Luzardo's way off. He's still not throwing. So, Max Meyer is maybe throwing this weekend, I think I saw in the news. So, nevertheless, if anyone's hurt again, Eliezer's back up. Eliezer's going to be pitching again. So they absolutely needed him to transition, head to AAA, stay built up. So if they need to call another starter, it's Eliezer, and he's straight in there. So they did the right thing there. No, they're talking about the long man, but listen, if Eliezer comes in a close game, do you want Eliezer pitching in a close game right now? If the Marlins are, one run lead, I don't. I wouldn't trust him. He needs to go and just get his head right in AAA, keep himself as a starter, and then come back strong, hopefully later in the year. I think we do see him. So the rotation looking nice. Edward Cabrera stunning. But listen, this is all about Jazz. Talked about Jazz earlier with all the shenanigans going on. He was pretty tight-lipped about it after the game too. Obviously tweeting the AirPods AirPods ninja for Jazz, but he was anything but a ninja on the field, and he was anything but flat as well. He was absolutely on fire. The thing I love most. Listen, he was facing Jonah Don, who has got around about a 6 ERA. He's kind of struggling himself. Young guy, started hot. Has kind of really struggled since. But the Nats have nowhere left to go. They just need to kind of keep pitching him and let him develop in a rebuild year. But Jazz got him. Bases juiced. It was a 3-0 count. You're thinking he's not getting anywhere near the strike zone here. Jazz, has he got the green light? And he absolutely did. I'm pretty sure it was a ball. I'm not convinced it was actually in the strike zone, but Jazz, it was up in the zone, and we always know that's go zone for Jazz, up in the zone, and it was. I think it was probably wide ball, perhaps, but Jazz absolutely piled into it, and it just about cleared the fence. Deep center, nice to see from Jazz when he's hitting there for sure. Big salami for Jazz, 5-0 Marlins, they pile it on. But the other story we need to talk about, guys, Nick Fortes has arrived. He's emerged. He is, he started, it was last season, played the last couple of games. Everyone's like, whoa, Nick Fortes, he's never been a bat in the minor leagues. And all of a sudden, he's going bananas. He was going bananas last year. Some reason Peyton Henry cracked the roster. I have no idea why, by the way. I was a little bit uncertain as to why Peyton Henry won that job. Offensively, there's never been anything there. Maybe as a catcher, okay. But, Nick Fortes, he's up, and he's continued. When I was his first at bat yesterday, just slapped one oppo, drilled it, and then he ends up hitting a 3-run blast on a 5-mile-an-hour curveball right at the top of the zone. He was sitting on it, and he absolutely did not miss. Miles back from Nick Fortes, 3-run blast for him. I'm absolutely delighted. Listen, this is it. You've got this offensive production from your backup catcher. We haven't had offensive production from any catcher for, since Realmuto's days. We haven't. So, wonderful surprise to see. We've already seen it now. We know Stallings is catching Sandy every time. He's also catching Pablo every time. Eli talked about it, I think, on the pregame yesterday show, which was great, by the way, from the Fish Stripes guys. But they've split up Pablo and Sandy, so they don't go in consecutive days. And the main reason being that I believe, this is according to Eli anyway, that they want Stallings to be able to catch the two of the guys, and they don't want to be kind of hamstrung by the day game Sunday and the night game Monday, or vice versa with the Saturday Sunday. So they split the guys up to mean that Stallings can be the guy behind the dish for Sandy and for Pablo. And listen, by those guys' starts of the year and their ERAs, not changing anything. Stallings, get behind that dish, senor. You're the man. But how great is it to see Nick Fortes doing his thing? Jorge Soler as well with a bomb. 3 hits for Avi Garcia. It was just a complete performance for the Fish, no doubt about it. 12-2 against, what is a poor Nationals team in general. But like I said, they'd come in hot. And the Marlins, well, they were supposed to come out flat, and they absolutely didn't. And maybe this is it, guys. Maybe this is the turning point. On Tuesday, the 7th of June, they have a 90-minute session initiated by Don Mattingly, and the Marlins go absolutely crazy and on a tear. If they do, everyone will point to this moment as the moment that the season changed. We'll wait and see on that one. I think there's still a few details to come out of it, but when we look back and we kind of, end this episode now 30 minutes in, hopefully you found it a fun episode. I haven't done a solo one for some time, so it feels a little bit weird not having a guest to ask a question to and get their take on it. So it's only me streaming consciousness out, but nevertheless, hope you've enjoyed it. But when we sit back and look at it, the day started in a weird way. Don Mattingly I've never seen like that with the media ever before. By all accounts, the issues weren't resolved. The team is expected to come out flat. Jazz is tweeting, Edward Cabrera going, and Eddie absolutely delivered again. Jazz Chisholm absolutely delivered. Soler, Fortes delivered. The Marlins absolutely delivered on the field, 12-2. And listen, this is a massive stretch. Tweeted about it a few days ago. Massive, massive stretch for the Marlins. It really is. This is kind of season defining now in mid to end of June, where you've got the Nationals now. We're on the road then. Three city road trip and a real tough one against three really hot teams: Astros, Phillies, Mets. We will know a lot about the Miami Marlins at the end of these 4 series. And to be honest with you, we're then into, if things go well and they get some momentum, maybe they take all, let's say they take all 4 series on the spin. They're going to be right back in the mix. They're going to be kind of clamoring back around 500. Then that's a different season. However, if they lose 3 or 4 series, then the season's in the bin and it's end of June. And now this podcast and all of Marlins Twitter will flick to what's happening with Don Mattingly, what's happening with Kim Ang, what's happening at the trade deadline, because there's some guys that have to go. If the Marlins are out of it, they have to sell them. Jesus Aguilar, in my opinion, has to go. He has to go. Jorge Soler, if he continues to be hot and the Marlins are well out of it, Jorge Soler has to go too, because he's probably going to opt out. We're back in this Duvall situation. And maybe we'll end up sending him to Atlanta. I think there's a good possibility they will. But, Anthony Bass too. If he continues doing what he's doing, Anthony Bass, he has to go. He has to go too, because the Marlins need to cash in on these dudes. So we'll wait and see. But guys, that is it done. Wednesday's edition. Hadn't even spoke about tonight's game. Sandy's going, guys. It should be absolutely stunning. Sandy against Josiah Gray. I'm absolutely pumped. It was the premier matchup. Me and Rob Langley talked about it yesterday on the episode. It's the premier matchup. Sandy, he's looking to kind of just carry on. Listen, it wouldn't shock me if Sandy goes 8 or 9 again tonight. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be sat in that clubhouse, disappointed. He's the leader. This is his clubhouse just as much as anyone else's. And for there to be internal problems, Sandy Alcantara will not be happy. No doubt about it. He'll want to be out there putting on a show. So wait and see for this one. Then we've got the Thursday game. Trevor Rogers and Steven Strasburg is back for the Nats. So a real premier matchup too on Thursday. Really intrigued to see the way that one plays out. But that is me, Peter Pratt, out of here. No guest. Just me, Peter Pratt, solo pod on Locked On Marlins, Wednesday, the 8th of June. And I will be back tomorrow, recapping tonight's game, previewing the Game 3 of this series. And then my good friend over at Astros UK, George, will be joining me on Friday to preview the 3-game series with the Marlins and Astros. Until then, guys, relax, enjoy the game tonight. Go Sandy, go Fish.